With the fashion industry currently being one of the most polluting industries in the world, according to Davis 2020 and Changing Markets Foundation 2020, this would suggest with the trajectory that the world is currently headed on, there needs to be a drastic change in the way the fashion industry operates. In a Mintel 2020 report, the amount consumers were spending on clothes and accessories was £42.5 million, forecast to bounce back to 62 million by 2025. While in 2019 the global retail sales of apparel and footwear reached $1.9 trillion, Shabenda 2020, using the conversion rate as of 6th of April 2021, that is £1.37 trillion. This demand for apparel leads to 100 million tonnes of textiles being produced a day, Financial Times 2021, all showing the mammoth size of the industry and how much opportunity there is to take a sustainable approach, yet how rarely is actually chosen. Concluded from the research, it appears there are four main problems with the fashion industry: excessive water consumption, microplastics, the disposable mindset, and emissions, specifically greenhouse gases. Can you believe it takes 10 to 20,000 litres of water to produce a kilo of cotton? The kilo of cotton is then equivalent to only a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. That's it. Often cotton being supplied to the UK will have come from somewhere like India or Pakistan. Both countries suffer from high levels of water scarcity, RAP 2017 cited in Tucker 2019. There is also water pollution. According to the Changing Markets Foundation 2020, the World Bank states that 20% of global water population is caused by processing textiles, making it the second biggest polluter of fresh water on the planet, demonstrating how producing textiles in this way is not sustainable and is not an effective use of natural resources. With non-biodegradable materials such as polyester, it can cause huge problems to the natural environment. With one washload of polyester clothes, up to 700,000 microplastic fibres can be released into the environment, and it is estimated that 500,000 tonnes of these microplastics ends up in the sea. Tucker 2019. Research has been conducted, and the highest levels recorded was the River Tame with over 1,000 pieces per litre, Corrington 2019. With these figures being recorded in 2019, it's highly likely by the time of making this video, in April 2021, the numbers are far higher across the UK. The disposable mindset within customers has become a huge problem for sustainability in the fashion industry, yet it is where some companies have made their millions. Back in 2000, on average, there were 2 collections a year, spring, summer and autumn, winter. Now, however, brands like Zara constantly churn out 24 collections a year. In 2019, the European Parliament had this to say on the issue: only 1% are recycled into new clothes, since technologies that would enable recycling clothes into virgin fibres are only just starting to emerge. Between 1996 and 2012, the amount of clothes bought per person in the EU had increased by 40%. 30% of clothes in the European's wardrobe have not been used for the last year. Once discarded, over half the garments are not recycled but end up in the mixed household waste and subsequently sent to incinerators or landfill. European Parliament 2019:1,2. 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions stem from the fashion industry due to their long supply chains and energy-intensive production methods, and therefore the fashion industry consumes more energy than the aviation and shipping industry combined. United Nations Climate Change 2018. Greenhouse gas emissions can cause a multitude of problems across the world, including thawing of glacial masses, flooding of islands and coastal cities, migrations of species, desertification of fertile areas, impacts on agriculture and livestock, food shortages and the spread of diseases and pandemics. Abridola 2021. Really, it is clear that these problems are extremely current and will continue to be issues far into the future, with the effects only getting worse and worse. Therefore, showing why is it vital that every industry does as much as they can in a collective effort to help the planet. What would you think if I told you there was a technology that is 100% natural, 100% biodegradable, 100% recyclable, very much circular, uses 99.5% less water than cotton, with no microplastics at all, and a significantly smaller CO2 emission process than normal? It would seem too good to be true, right? Well, maybe not. The technology in question has been developed by Spinnova and is a new way to convert cellulose into fibre. It's not like any other on the market, and with its claim it's the most sustainable fibre in the world, it has 37 international patents in 7 different classes and over 50 more pending. Spinnova 2021A, Spinnova 2021B. Over the entire life cycle from farming to fibre processing, it uses 95.5% less water than cotton. While the process was designed to make use of the abundance of trees, it can use any kind of cellulose. That could be cellulose that would normally go to waste, such as post-consumer cotton. Also, to further reduce the amount of excess water, the fibre can be dyed before spinning phase, meaning there is no need for water and the chemicals used in the traditional dyeing process. And if that's not impressive enough, there are no harmful chemicals involved at all. Simply, there are no microplastics in the fibre and therefore it cannot release any. So at the heart of any garment made with Spinnova's fibre, there will be no chance of any more microplastics getting into the water. With a product made from Spinnova's fibre, there are two choices at the end of its life. One, it can be upcycled, ground into microfibrils, and then it is good to be turned into a new product without having to supplement with any fresh fibres. This process can be repeated several times and is still under trials to find the maximum it can happen without compromising the quality of the fibre. Two, because it's 100% biodegradable, it can be returned to nature quickly as it only takes a few months to biodegrade into natural material. The process by Spinnova has been refined and their tech creates minimal emissions into the atmosphere. While some are still emitted in the pulping process and the lumbering process, when talking about using trees for the cellulose, the trees will actually absorb more CO2 from the atmosphere than the processes emit combined. There is also the shipping of the goods and raw materials to think about, but with the electric vehicles becoming a lot more efficient, hopefully in the future, it will be less of a concern. Also, raw materials may not have to be shipped in from far off places, and most likely, materials locally will be able to be used first. Stella McCartney in 2017 achieved 100% sustainable viscose, and it is used in 16% of its women's ready-to-wear ranges. Stella McCartney 2021. In 2022, they will be able to stop all use of viscose and replace it with Spinnova's cellulose fabric. As of 2022 is when this fabric will be ready for commercial production. Their current choice of wood-based cellulose fabric has a multitude of problems, from environmental to quality. First of all, the process used to make viscose is extremely chemical heavy. These toxic chemicals pollute the air and the water. Stella McCartney explained how they have attempted to mitigate these chemical effects, but wouldn't it be nicer not to have to do it in the first place? Then at the end of the fabric's life, it is biodegradable, which would be great, but due to all the chemicals used, the compost will be contaminated. Then, per tonne of yarn, 3,000 cubic metres of water is needed. This is excessive and not helping the world's water issue. And finally, the quality of viscose is not great and deteriorates quite badly when washed. Clearly, 2020. With Stella McCartney already using viscose in their ready-to-wear ranges, it shows that they are willing to use an alternative that is better for the world. Their current implementation of viscose is a great attempt at trying to make it as sustainable as possible, but there are still problems that even Stella McCartney cannot avoid. Spinnova have already partnered with the H&M Group to supply their brands. With H&M's goals of becoming fully circular, they acknowledge that Spinnova's fabric will help them achieve that and also address several of the sustainability challenges currently faced by the world. Spinnova 2021C. To further analyse the technology in question, there are several possible complications or negatives that may be associated with Stella McCartney adopting Spinnova's fabric into their ranges. Firstly, their pricing strategy. Will it be able to account for the increase that the new fabric may bring? Secondly, how will they avoid the problem that may occur with monocropping? Thirdly, dealing with the possible destruction of biodiversity and habitats when growing the crops needed to produce the fabric. The brand in question is not a budget brand. Stella McCartney is a high-end brand that already has garments made from other cellulose fibres, therefore suggesting that their consumers can afford and will tolerate the possible increase from using alternative fabrics. Although converting to cellulose fabric should only be a small increase of around 30 to 50 cents, which is 22 to 36 pence, Financial Times 2021, further supporting that if there is an price increase, then the products will be at a suitable price point. A little like Stella McCartney already do for their viscose products, Spinnova only use PEFC and FSC certified tree farms. These certifications indicate that the forest is sustainably managed in line with challenging international requirements and in a way that maintains or enhances the values of the forest alongside maintaining, conserving and or restoring the ecosystem within. One of the main problems with monocropping is the destruction of habitat and biodiversity, and by only using wood from these certified forests, this problem should be eliminated because of the criteria the forests have to meet to earn the certification. In conclusion, Spinnova's fabric is a revolution one, which is already being adopted by major brands like H&M, showing the circularity of it with its ability to be upcycled, so ground down and made into new fibres that are the same quality as they were the first time round. With the way it is different to any other technology out there, with its 37 international patents and 50 more pending, it shows how unique it is and how it would be very difficult to be copied in the future, as long as the patents get renewed, that is, suggesting the future-proofness of it.